Hello, it's Tuesday the 21st of November, and in this video I'm going to show you the ways I've found in which the numbers from the last Lotto draw were the most outstanding, and in which case they were predictable. The machine was Guinevere, the set of balls was set of balls number 2, and this is a chart for that machine and set of balls looking at the full draw history. This is where the winning numbers were on that chart, and now that they've been drawn, that's how the chart has changed. Now if we just look at the recent history, since the numbers went up to 59, that's where they were, and that's what it looks like now. So you can't really see much on that chart because it's very small. Now let's have a look at the chart for all machines and all sets of balls. Okay, that's what it looks like before the last draw, and I'll show you where the winning numbers were. So you can see that 24 and 54 were both the most outstanding individual numbers, because 24 was the most overdue and 54 was the most frequent. Now if we narrow it down to the current trend, which is now sets of balls 1 to 4 and machines Guinevere and Lancelot, and if we look at numbers paired with number 24, and we go into the full draw history, and then we eliminate all the machines and sets of balls that haven't been used since the number of main numbers went up to 59, then we get this chart. Now these 9 numbers that have not been drawn yet are the ones that were added recently. Now before those were added in draw 2066, which is somewhere up there, way before that, back in draw 642, that was the last time number 36 was drawn with number 24. So out of the numbers that have been in play since draw 642, in fact since the beginning, 36 is the most overdue to occur with 24. So that is a way in which number 36 was most outstanding. So far we've got 3 outstanding numbers: 24, 36, 54. Now I had a look at this chart recently, trying to find the ways in which the other numbers were outstanding, and to be quite honest, I can't find them. I don't see the ways in which they were most outstanding, because basically they weren't the most outstanding numbers. Not all of them, only 3 of them were. So if we try and find ways in which they were outstanding, then I'm not going to find them. So maybe it's not always the most outstanding numbers, or maybe these numbers were outstanding but just not in a way that I've been able to find yet. So if we look at the chart for each of these numbers in the recent history and see where the winning numbers were, then maybe 36 and 20. So if we look at a chart for 36, 20 is one of the most outstanding on that chart, but it's not the most outstanding. See, none of them are particularly outstanding. So in conclusion, I'm going to show you my predictions for some winning numbers that are going to come out soon. Now, I don't know how soon, but I'm going to try and find the ones that look like they're due to occur soon. So anyway, now 5 and 9 are most outstanding, and so is 34 because it's overdue for its frequency. Number 10 quite overdue for its frequency as well, second most overdue. 52 kind of overdue for its frequency. Now 28 was most overdue for the current trend before it changed, but now that it has changed, it's no longer the most overdue, because this is what it looked like before, but now that it's gone from sets 5 to 8 to sets 1 to 4, it now looks like this. So this is a chart for the current trend, and on this chart we've got 3 most overdue numbers. Now what's interesting to me about these numbers is 45 and 19, because if we look at this pairs chart, now what I've done on this chart is I've looked at all machines and all sets of balls full draw history, and I've looked for most outstanding pairs. I've looked at a chart for every number, and I've made a note of the ones that were most interesting because they had very outstanding pairs. And if you notice, some of the 3 most overdue pairs are numbers that include 19 and 45. So I've got 32 and 19 is the most overdue pair, and then I've got 2 and 45 and 41 and 45, second most overdue pairs. Now if we go back to this chart and we look at number 19, there's 32. Now if we look at number 45 and see where 41 is, and number 2, and what I find interesting is that number 2 is most frequent. Now in the last draw we had most frequent and most overdue together, and that was on the chart for all machines and all sets of balls. But on this chart, which is a chart for the current trend, most overdue 45 and most frequent 2. Now I'll show you why that pair is most outstanding. Now if we look at full draw history and look at a chart for 45, look where number 2 is. That pair hasn't come out since draw 1679, and we're now on draw 2286, so that's over 400 draws that pair's not come out for. The average gap between occurrences of any pair is now 114 draws, so 400 draws makes that considerably overdue, and 41 and 45 also quite overdue. Now if we look at numbers paired with 19, look where 32 is. That is the most overdue pair on the Lotto at the moment. So looks like these numbers are set to come out together very soon. Also 44 most frequent with 19, and again if we look at the pairs chart, we notice 44 coming up with 18, also 36, and I made a note of these because these are some of the most outstanding pairs. Now if we look at the chart for 18, look where 44 is on that as well. So the question is, what about 18 and 19 together? Well, they occurred quite recently, but they didn't occur with 44. They should have done. But anyway, let's go back to the recent history. And this is a chart for all machines and all sets of balls that have been used since the numbers went up to 59. Now if we look at a chart for 19 for example, where's 32? Overdue, obviously. One of the most overdue. Now if we look at a chart for 44, then 18 and 19 most overdue. And again if we look at a chart for 45, we should find 41 and 2 most overdue, but so are all these other numbers. They're also most overdue to occur with this number. So there's some outstanding pairs for you to put 2 number hot picks on. Now in the last draw I went a bit mental and I put all these lines on the hot picks and I won nothing, absolutely nothing. So I'm going to try again. I'm going to put some of these pairs on. Maybe I won't go quite so mental. Basically all I want to do is just win maybe £1,000 for Christmas. That'd be nice. So anyway, that concludes this video for now. Yeah, so subscribe for the next one, and bye for now.